10 years. Imagine losing progress and gains for 10 years. Think about it for a minute. Where were you 10 years ago? Just reflect. 10 years ago, where were you? And then imagine the kind of progress, those 10 years ago, the investments, the work, the mobilization, the testing campaigns, and everything. We have made so much progress, we have made so much gains. But COVID-19, because of disruption of services, because of weak health systems, could potentially reverse the gains by 10 years, according to UNAIDS report. And therefore, what we see and why this conversation here this morning, even though we know that HIV infections is much more among adolescent girls and young women across Africa. This is not just for Kenya, across Africa. COVID-19 has made that even worse. So we are seeing that adolescent girls and young women are getting more affected during COVID-19. So with the pandemic, now we have about 275 young girls getting infected with HIV every week. That is the data that we have. So you can begin to imagine and to see how easy it is to reverse the gains by 10 years. So many young girls, adolescent girls, according to WHO, adolescent girls is 10 years to 19 years. So imagine 10 years, 11 years, 12 years girls, etc., etc. And then you also have young women of reproductive age, up to about 25 years. This is the population. So without further remarks, I want to invite Patricia to introduce herself and to tell us, on this World AIDS Day, why is it important, and what is your one message or key highlight for today? Welcome.
So thank you very much, Rosemary, for those very insightful statements and data that reminds us of where we are as a country and globally with regards to HIV prevention and the HIV response. So this World AIDS Day for me is very special in the sense that there's a lot that has been done already. And in the state of this pandemic that we are in, there's quite a little bit more that we still need to do to be able to retain the gains that we have, maintain them, and also be able to accelerate and ensure that we are getting to zero new infections. And for me, my one message is that we need to address the barriers to access. As a country, we know adolescents, for example, do not have sufficient access to information to be able to make informed decisions. Our services are not responsive to the needs of adolescents. We need to address the social, the structural, the economic, and policy barriers that hinder adolescents and young people from accessing services. So thank you very much. And as we commemorate World AIDS Day tomorrow, I truly believe that we will also be champions to expand the basket of HIV prevention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That is Patricia from LVCT. You didn't introduce yourself. Faith?
Okay, thank you, Rosemary. My name is Faith Ndungu. I work for AIDS Healthcare Foundation Kenya, in short, AHF Kenya. World AIDS Day is, I would say, is a big advocacy avenue for all of us. And as AHF, our theme for this year is AIDS, the other pandemic. Because this year, we know since March as a country, we focus so much on COVID-19. But really, as Rosemary has rightfully said, HIV still is the pandemic that is with us. And I'm happy that today we are going to be seated here, having discussions, but most important, I can see the room is almost full with young women. It's important for us to look at what are the available options for HIV prevention. And I'm happy that we have a lot of progress made. We have a lot of advancements in science. So the ball is on our court. As policymakers are looking at what is the space and how can things be adapted, what is the voice of the young women? Because at the end of the day, HIV prevention starts with me and starts with you. At the same time, for those who are HIV positive, living healthy and taking responsibility of our lives also starts with me. So that's my message to all of us here. Let's all play our role, because if we play our role, we will by 2030 be able to say that we are actually getting to managing this pandemic. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Faith. That's Faith from AHF. So this is Joyce. Oh my God, the mask. Come. Oh yeah, introduce yourself and your network and your key message.
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. I mean, I'm the only young person who stood here, so you might as well cheer me. Anyway, good morning, everyone. My name is Jerop Limo. I'm from Ambassadors for Youth and Adolescent Reproductive Health Program. And you asked a question of, we think about where we were 10 years ago. Personally, 10 years ago, I was starting ART treatment. That is 10 years ago. And honestly, I wouldn't want to go back there. Come rain, come sunshine. So, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because we have honestly made milestones. And as much as COVID could take us back, I stand here and just saying that we have made strides. Better medication for us, better treatment options for us, better programs for us as AGYW. And I mean, we are here because we are taking up our spaces, right? We are here because we are showing up, we are working hard, and we are delivering at the end of the day. So my word is to just tell you that I'm proud that we as AGYW are together in this forum, and we are ready to share our voices, amplify, our sentiments, and ensure that no one sits in spaces that belong to us. Sindio? Nothing for us? Yeah, so thank you.
That's not a warm enough hand clap for Jerome. Thank you also for sharing your personal story and for really shedding light on why it really is scary to think that we can wake up one day and find that we have gone 10 years back, which for some people means no access to ART. That would be tragic. Positive voices, please. Positive young women's voices. Let's have a delegate. One of you, please. Come, step up, step up, step up. Let's why this is important, why we are focusing on adolescent girls and young women today, out of all the other things we could have looked at, we are focusing on adolescent girls and young women as far as HIV prevention is concerned, And our conversation today will center on women-initiated HIV prevention options. In July this year, there was a huge celebration across the world. There was a huge celebration across the world because that day we got news HIV prevention option. One thing we know is that even though we have said that there's disproportionately many infections among adolescent girls and young women, we don't necessarily have HIV prevention options that are female controlled. What you know in terms of HIV prevention options, a lot of that actually is not does not necessarily give you the option of choice as a woman in terms of when and where, etc., etc. And a lot of time you find that women are in situations where you just want to do your thing without having to announce, without having to get people to see, or without having to get your partner to actually even know what option you're using, etc., etc. And therefore, in July this year, women across Africa and around the world welcomed the positive opinion from the European Medicines Agency on the dapivirine vaginal ring for use by cisgender women ages 18 and older in developing countries who are at, in order to reduce the risk of HIV infection. When we say cisgender women, we mean women whose identity conforms to the sex they were assigned at birth. So basically, that is the opposite of transgender. So if you are identifying as a woman or a female and you're assigned that sex at birth, that is what we refer as cisgender. And so today, we want to specifically focus on this potential. We want to focus on this exciting science. We want to focus on the possibility that we could have an HIV prevention option that is female initiated and that women from the age of 18 can have an option in something that they have control over. So without further ado, I want to invite Joyce Owuma for the keynote. She will be sharing with us perspectives on adolescent girls and young women in Kenya in view of rising HIV infections and prevention gaps. So Joyce, welcome. So you realize I did not introduce her because she wears many hats and titles. So introduce yourself. Welcome.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again. So, as Rosemary has mentioned, my name is Joyce Owuma. And again, I have many titles, but this morning I am a young woman and I am an AVAC fellow for 2020 from Kenya, working on a project around advocating for effective HIV SRH integration and preparing Kenya for new product introduction. And this morning, the new product we're going to be talking about is the dapivirine vaginal ring. So like everybody else who has spoken before me has been mentioning, the incidence rates amongst AGYW has been very high. 275 young girls getting HIV weekly is a very worrying trend. And this is because of very many reasons and very many barriers that, again, the other speakers who have spoken before me have mentioned. But as a young woman, and from a young woman's perspective, the main reasons as to why the HIV incidence rates are higher in young women as compared to our male counterparts is one, reasons of sexual gender-based violence. I don't need to go deeper into this because each and every one of us, if you have not gone through sexual and gender-based violence, you know someone who has gone through SGBV. And the other reason is multiple sexual partners. This one does not set us apart from our male counterparts, but is also another key reason as to why HIV incidence rates are higher amongst adolescent girls and young women. And also we have the cross-generational sex and poverty. And these reasons can go on and on and on. But today we are here to talk about the innovative ways that are being put in place that can address these issues. Already these legal barriers, structural barriers, and even the barriers that are existing at the community level have been attempted to be addressed in very many angles, but it has always failed, for lack of a better word. Now, this morning, we are talking about having a new product being introduced soon enough, hopefully, and we as young women, we would want to be able to access this product. Now, when we look at the existing products currently, we have PrEP, oral PrEP, which is a very effective product, but has proven very difficult to access as a young woman due to issues of age of consent, the locations at which PrEP is being offered. For instance, currently, I only know of PrEP being offered at the CCCs. And even when you go to this CCC, you have to provide very many personal information for you to even qualify to get this PrEP. So half the time you spend a whole day at the facility and you may not even be able to get the drug that you're looking for at the end of it all. Like everybody else has mentioned, that the new product is not coming to replace the ones that exist. The new product is coming to complement the products that exist. And so every one of us has an objective to protect and prevent new HIV infections. Now, as an adolescent girl and young woman coming from Kenya, and being part of the statistics that are being thrown around the room and has been thrown around the media and everywhere else, we are scared of those of us who are still not yet HIV positive, and we hope that it stays that way. For those who still have a chance to get protected from HIV, for those who still have a chance to better access new products in the country, and for those who still have a chance to have their health in their own hands. Now, the dapivirine ring makes us very excited as young women. It will potentially put our health in our own hands for once. It will give us the chance to use a product that we ourselves will be the ones in control of. You will insert it by yourself and you can remove it by yourself. And I don't think there is any other product that gives us that opportunity to be able to be protected for 28 days full time. I am very excited about this product because, well, for us as young people, sex is a spontaneous activity. Almost all the HIV prevention products that are existing right now are of the idea that sex is a premeditated activity. I mean, for you to be able to take PrEP, take it 7 days before you are exposed to the virus. I mean, who in this room, I'm not asking the ones at the front table, but at the back, who usually gets prepared to have sex? 7 days before you have sex, are you always prepared, or, well, it happens? Could happen in a happen. Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. There is no hand up. It is because for us as young women, in a happen. It happens when it happens. You meet a guy, it happens. So the Piverin vaginal ring will offer us a chance to be constantly protected and prevented from getting HIV through sexual acquisition. Now, there is a lot that we can talk about as an advantage of having the dapivirine ring, but I'm more excited about having my own health in my own hands. I do not have to question or seek permission from my sexual partner to be able to use the dapivirine ring. And if I don't tell them, they will not know. Now, among the reasons as to why there has been an increase in gender-based violence cases is because of such issues. Because you're going for contraceptives, or you're on PrEP, and definitely now you have a target on your back, and now you start being exposed to stigma and intimate partner violence. Now, I can talk all and on about the issues that we have been going through with the existing methodologies, but I think I beg to stop there. But before I stop, there's only one request or a key ask that we have to the policymakers and to everyone who is in charge of this HIV response, that yes, the ring might be approved and will be approved, as being that the EMA has already given a positive opinion. It might take a while, but this gives us time to polish our policies, and it gives us time to prepare our country for new product introduction. And because this particular product is and will be very effective for us as adolescent girls and young women, and will potentially subside the cases of HIV incidences that are currently being seen, maybe due to COVID, or maybe this is how it has always been, and COVID has just given us that's just shown some light on what has been going on. We just need free access to the dapivirine ring. We need the dapivirine ring at places that are very accessible to us as young women. And most importantly, and I like that we are having this conversation this morning, we need to be involved in these processes from the beginning so as to tell you what to do for us to be able to take up this product when it will be readily available. So we urge all policymakers to cater for adolescent girls and young women in all our diversity, because not one shoe size fits all. Thank you.
the world, women and girls bear the burden of HIV/AIDS. In Africa, more than half of people living with HIV are women. In our daily lives, we get to know the HIV epidemic has done our families, friends, and communities. Due to biological, economic, and social reasons, women are far greater risk of contracting HIV than men. Although condoms are still the most effective way to prevent HIV transmission, and oral PrEP or pre-exposure prophylaxis has been made available, current prevention options are not enough to lower the rate of new HIV infection. Because of different living conditions and lifestyles, women have different preferences and needs. No one prevention option will suit all women, and hence we need a variety of options from which women can choose. Vaginal microdosals are a new option currently being developed and tested to protect healthy HIV-related women from becoming infected with HIV during sex. These microdosals are inserted into the vagina, therefore offering protection right up in the place where infection could occur during sex. A vaginal ring containing an antiretroviral ARV is the most common method of microdosal profile, which is used by women. The ring contains the ARV recovery, which prevents the HIV virus from using the human cell to make copies of itself after it has entered the cell. The flexible ring is worn inside the vagina up against the middle of the cervix, where it slowly releases the microdosal in small quantities into the walls of the vagina. Each ring lasts for a month before it needs replacing with a new ring. Women can easily insert the flexible silicone ring into the vagina and go about their daily activities undisturbed. It is easy to replace each month, and there is no need to remove the ring during menstruation or sex. It is not felt by either partner during sex, and enables their male partners to continue using contraceptives such as condoms. The contemporary vaginal ring has just completed the most advanced stages of clinical research, and results from two pivotal phase 3 studies were released in February 2016. The ring study, conducted by the International Partnership for Microdosals, and the FIRE, conducted by the Microdosals Trial Network, tested whether the particular ring was safe and effective in preventing HIV infection. More than 4,500 women from Southern and Eastern Africa participated in the study. All study participants were HIV negative and on stable contraception. They were counseled to continue practicing safe sex and were provided with HIV prevention tools such as condoms. In these two studies, the women were divided randomly into two groups. One group received a particular ring, and the other a dummy or placebo ring that did not contain the ARV. None of the participants nor the researchers knew which type of ring individual would receive. This ensured that the results would not be biased in any way. Despite all efforts to keep women from getting infected with HIV, one study participant became HIV positive during the trial. In both the ring study and the FIRE, the number of new HIV infections was about one-third lower among the group of women who used a particular ring, showing that on average, the ring prevented 1 in 3 HIV infections in the active arm of the trial. In both studies, protection from the ring was higher among women older than 21 years. These studies are almost open-label studies, and unlike the phase 2 trial, there will be no placebo or dummy arm. All women who enroll in either of these studies will be given an active ring which contains 25 milligrams of the These studies are also providing answers to questions such as how women will use the ring when they know that it actually provides protection. Will they be more hearing noses? And further data on safety and the prevention of HIV infection. Currently, the International Partnership for Microbicides, the developer and license holder of the existing ring, is preparing a dossier of scientific and clinical information on data. This dossier will enable them to seek approval and licenses from health regulators for this new HIV prevention tool. Once licensed and approved for public use, the Considering ring could address a central gap in HIV prevention strategies. The need for a discrete tool that women can use to take charge of their own health and protect themselves from HIV infection. Microbicides, giving women new hope and choice in HIV prevention. Thank you so much for that short video, which gives us a sneak peek to the science and what it is. Dr. Mogo, this is the point at which you come in. The video has given us a bit of an understanding, a bit of presentation on what the ring is, etc., etc. But I do know that there might still be a lot of questions that we have not answered. We have adolescent girls and young women here who might have specific questions. We have colleagues from the media, fraternity, who are also here. It's a real pleasure to have you and have this conversation with you. So if you can hear me now, Dr. Mogo, please come in at this point. Welcome. Hello, we can hear you. Hello, we can hear you. Good morning. Good morning. And thank you to join the forum of young women and advocates for HIV. I'm sorry I couldn't be right in person. It's more interesting when you talk to people who you can see instead of their faces in their offices. But thank you for this invitation. I'm very humble because I don't know if I'm also in education science media. And I work in the community for research. This is a very important about the PhD is HIV prevention and prevention. And I know this is very excited about the risk in some of the stories. We can't talk any of the involvement. There's a lot of work that has been done in this area, and I'll get to that. Some of it has been done with people, and some of it has been involved. And I know some of it has really been about the importance of finding independent interventions for young people. And I also say young women are really important. And the work that is out there too is also a young woman. Everybody has a feeling. But it's really good to talk with women and young women when they are talking about their and what safety faces in the world for a young woman. So this always, I think it's never wrong to repeat the founders of people review. There are sometimes they come and speak for the interview. She started in the first and because the thing that is of the 2025 at 20%, 1% of the population is a lot of people. But the statistics are going to 60 half of the 1 million.
their partners use the ring better. So of course, good partnerships and relationships is always good, but in the absence of that, the ring affords a woman the ability to put something in there that will protect her without having to negotiate. Most men, most men had no idea that there was anything sitting in there. So it seemed to have fit very well in women's lives, so very comfortable with it. They even forgot about it. The ring we have right now is put in every month and removed at the end of the month. Now, the beauty about the ring, amongst the other antiretroviral HIV prevention interventions, is that it's safe. It's extremely safe because the doses that's coming out, being released, are low doses and they don't go to the bloodstream. So my hope personally is that when we get the rings, the same way people pick condoms, that they can use this protective HIV prevention product together with an HIV self-test, because of course you must be HIV negative. Otherwise you'll have, we don't want HIV infected people. They need food treatment, not small doses of antiretroviral. So you can have an HIV test kit, maybe the oral one, and you can pick a ring for your use. So you can now engage in self-care, which means you're driving your own protection. You're in charge. So we've talked a little bit about, and of course, we know that rings don't protect you from STDs. And sexually transmitted infections are important. I talked a little bit about chlamydia. And in all recent studies, we're just seeing a humongous amount of chlamydia in young women. Almost 2 out of every 10, we find chlamydia. The problem with chlamydia is that it blocks fallopian tubes and causes infertility, and that's a big deal. So what I want to say, in my view, what we need, young women's lives, how would I say this? Young women are extremely beautiful. I tell people I was most beautiful when I was 16. I could never be that beautiful again. And those of you who are in that age of 16 to 20, you're gorgeous. You're beautiful. That's why everybody's looking at you, because God made you at this time to be the best of womanhood. But then how do we bridge you in this space when you're still growing up, sorting out your space in life, in society, with so many people telling you what to do, when to do, how to do it, safely into the space of adulthood? Because I think youth is also a time of dreams. You dream about, when I grow up, I'll be a mom, I'll do this, I'll do that. So how do we get you there healthy and safe? And I think girls' empowerment is important. We must talk to young women and empower them to take over and take charge of their lives and value themselves and build their self-esteem and recognize how beautiful and wonderful they are, and concurrently access to interventions and tools so that the stories we've had today are not repeated by other young women. And for those of you who didn't get protection and these tools were not there for you, I really celebrate you. I congratulate you for the journey you've taken and the courage to stand up and tell your stories so other people don't need to do it. They don't need to travel that journey. And of course, most of all, is just to close up and say we should also remember that treatment is prevention, that people who are HIV infected and have fully virally suppressed, taking their drugs well, do not transmit HIV, neither to their baby or to their sexual partner. So I think I'll pause a little bit for any comments. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your key highlights, for taking us through the science, the background information, why the ring is so important, and why this is a key moment and an important moment in terms of women's HIV prevention research. So we want to get to see if there are any questions, either from the adolescent girls and young women or from the media.
Just any question that you have that you'd like to solve. As you are doing that, I just want to mention and reiterate one of the things that Dr. Owuma has mentioned that is quite striking for me is when she says that young women are incredibly useful and that as young women, it's the time to sort out and really sort out the space in society so that it's safely and in a healthy way get into adulthood. I know that was really powerful. And also in her work, as she was saying that we celebrate young people, we celebrate adolescent girls and young women for your courage to speak so that what you've gone through and your experiences, other young women do not have to go through. Thank you so much for that resilience, for that courage, for speaking out. So, are there any questions or anything that you'd like? Mike, please come here because of the audience. Oh, is the mic there? Please introduce yourself.
My name is Mike, and I'm not very sure. I'm not promoted to cancer. You said that living with the low doses of ARVs, which do not go to the bloodstream. Could you please account for where these doses go? And does the need protect us from STDs? Thank you.
I didn't hear the question very well. Maybe you could repeat it for you. I heard about ring STDs.
Okay, I can mention that. So Mike Waneki is with the journalist team, the media team, and his question is regarding the fact the ring releases low doses and they do not go, does not go into the bloodstream. So his question is, where does it go if it doesn't go into the bloodstream? And then there was another question, whether it does protect from STIs. So that's what Mike wants clarification for. So maybe we could get maybe two more, then Dr. Mogo could address all those. Do we have other questions in the room? Yes, please.
My name is Nada Hassan from Clayton. My question is on effectiveness. How effective is peptide compared to other forms of prevention? Because, okay, basically, what is the need of us having a different method compared to all the other methods that we have?
More, the question is about the effectiveness or the efficacy of the ring and why. So she also asked why we need another option while we still have so many other options, maybe then that have efficacy. So that's a question. There is another one here, and then we come to Dr. Moore for responses.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Lian from Association. I wanted to get clearly, can the ring be used together with the IUCD, the family planning method used for the properties that replace each of the uterus? And what if someone gets pregnant? Does it affect his income? Thank you.
All right. So let's take both Dr. Mogo.
What was the second question after about, or does it affect pregnancy? Excellent. These are excellent questions. Really, thank you. So the first question is that this question, so I wish I had a model and I was sitting there so I could demonstrate how the ring sits around the cervix. So the ring sits outside along the cervix, outside of the cervix, while the IUD sits inside the uterus, into the cervical canal. The ring is outside. So yes, the two can be used together. Does it affect pregnancy? We don't have good data on that, but the early data doesn't show harm. But we don't have enough data, I think, on pregnancy. But we would tentatively say probably okay, but I wouldn't, because I'm a scientist, I only state things which are supported with data. So this question of slow release of antiretroviral, because then the antiretroviral product is sitting in the vagina, which means that the ring protects vaginal sex. So it wouldn't be protective, for example, in anal sex. It will only protect vaginal sex. And so if you concentrate more of the products where the semen will be, where the infection will be, that's where it's working locally. So it doesn't completely not go into the bloodstream, but only very low levels enter the bloodstream. So therefore, we haven't seen many issues of resistance. Does it protect from STIs? The only STI, not dapivirine, the tenofovir ring, which is still in production and under scientific investigation, seems to protect against genital herpes. But the dapivirine ring, the current ring that was passed by the European Medicine Agency, does not protect from other STDs, because remember, HIV is often sexually transmitted. How effective is it compared to other methods? So, like oral PrEP taken every day is over 90% protective. The condom well used is over 80% protective. The current injectables, where we've just been released the data from women actually, is highly effective. And because they didn't have the challenge of remembering to swallow every day, it seemed to have performed even better than oral PrEP because it could only be used in comparison. So the ring is what was seen after, amongst people who used it was around 68% protected. In the trials themselves, it was 30%, but very low use. Why we need more options? I would even like to, I'll answer it, but I'd like to pose it back to the young women in the audience or even to us. And I like to put it in terms of, we have different lives and different needs. So if you come to contraceptive, for example, if all we had was the oral contraceptive pill, then many people would not be able to use it for many reasons. One is adherence, daily oral pill. And then it has other side effects that the IUD doesn't, and people seem to have a preference for long-acting injectables. So if you look in the contraceptive field, we have orals, we have long-acting injectables, we have intrauterine, we have implants, and we have rings also. And actually, we're following a similar path for HIV prevention to find options that fit people's lives, because people need more than products. The products themselves may be good, but if they don't fit your life, then you'll not use it and will not have the impact we are looking for, which was to protect people from HIV. So I think, PrEP is wonderful, pre-exposure prophylaxis. We have seen in one of our trials where we gave HIV serodiscordant couples where the infected partner got ARV and the negative partner got PrEP, the oral PrEP. We literally saw near elimination of HIV, like almost zero infections. And the 4 infections that we saw in that study were from people who didn't take the treatment. So we know for sure, if we have high coverage treatment and the people who then may get HIV have something they can use to protect themselves, we will bring this epidemic of HIV down effectively. But I don't think we can do it with only one product. Condoms we've had for many years, and for various reasons, people are not able to use. Long time ago, we talked about abstinence. Circumcision is good, and it's still being worked on. We still don't have 100% coverage. And I just want to tell you that circumcision is about 60% protective. But when you look at Kenya and you look at the geographic differences of HIV infections, it follows the circumcision patterns. So I want to say that 70, 60% is still good and can make a real difference.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mongo, for clarifying and for sharing further insights as far as the questions we have in this room are concerned. I want to just do a quick check to see if we have any other questions. Yes, we have quite a number, so we have about 3 at the back. Yes. So, and introduce yourself as you ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mongo. My name is Anna. I'm a positive young reporter. And my question is, what about those single ladies who only involve themselves in sex once in a while, and they insert it maybe during sex alone, or can they not like keep it on the whole month?
I think the question I had is, what about people who have occasional sex? And I think this is true of most young women, right? Because people who are not living with their partner, some of the challenges is that when we talk to young women, we've asked this question a lot: how often do you plan for sex? How often does a young woman leave home with a plan in mind, knowing that there will be sex? Most young women who get pregnant didn't plan the event. So having a product that is safe, doesn't cause you side effects, and you can put in and forget about it, really takes care of that problem. Because I think the girls who have sex once in a while are even more vulnerable. They're less able to negotiate, they're less prepared. And I think that's where, if we talk amongst people who've been infected or become pregnant without planning when they're young, it's not because we're having sex all the time. Yeah. So if girls could also negotiate condom use, that would solve that problem. But we understand how slippery that slope is. We would prefer an empowered girl who could carry her condom and say, sex is happening, there has to be a condom. But then, there's all the social complexities of what makes that difficult for girls. And I think the girls in the forum know this better than I. My years of youth are a little bit behind me.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Mine is a comment, it's not a question. My name is Grace Mudoni from Ireland. So my concern is, in the past we've had so many interventions that target women, and we have not been successful. So when we come to the ring, can we involve women of all the background from rural, urban, every woman to be involved from the word go to prevent now after all the processes are done and they are finished. That's when we are going to the women, and maybe they will not buy the ring. So my comment is, can we start involving all women from the word go?
I think that's really important. And I've seen, whenever I've sat in WHO forum, this thing of end user perspective, because clearly if the person you want to use the product doesn't like it, doesn't prefer it, it's not going to work. So I think people have made great effort to really get this information, and maybe, the marketing has a cost issue. And I think we're doing better, not perfectly well, but better. But to get all women involved, I think would be a challenge, of course. But to get representation of women involved, I think is an effort that's continuous, ongoing, and we probably need to keep doing better at it. But I think not just women, we need to involve men. Like we often say, women are not having sex with themselves. And we've learned that one of the things that makes it difficult for women to use these products and to use contraceptive also is because men don't understand what they are, what they're for, why their women are using them. So they get angry about things they're ignorant about. So I think, for example, this session we're having today is part of that information sharing. But you're absolutely right. I also just want to say this for those who are HIV infected in the forum. The exciting thing about the long-acting injectables, and I know this is a ring forum, is that they will also be in use for treatment. So that would be amazing, where you can get your treatment as an injection every 2 months. And there'll be some work starting off also in one of our sites in Kisumu to test some tablet by Merck for prevention. But all this to take the issues of adherence for prevention will also move into treatment, making treatment lighter and easier. And you know, this issue of whether women will buy into it or not, I hope all women will find that fits them. But I think what we women need to buy into is the need to protect ourselves. Healthy, safe, enjoyable sexual reproductive health lives. Yeah. There are no more questions, right?
She was mute.
I am typing to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope you can hear me right now. So over the years, we've had interventions coming, and most of the time, it is usually the commodity that comes first, and community or women engagements come in later, just to get feedback. So I think communication and training and women because I think we need to ensure that women in the local areas in our community actually understand what the ring is about, its importance. We create demand for it. So we start by informing them and empowering them about it, and then I'll bring in the commodity, not necessarily the commodity, and then I'll bring later on to get their feedback about it. It doesn't work well. So we empowering them about the and then bring in the real action.
I am in complete agreement. I think you couldn't have said it better. And I think that as this work starts now, it should continue. And I hope you'll continue being those ambassadors in the community for all HIV prevention products. Because at the end of the day, it's not that one product is successful, it's just that people are protected and are not getting HIV. So yes, completely agree.
Hello everyone, my name is Carlos from DHF, Mathare, and I have a question. Actually, what if someone has that vaginal ring and maybe she doesn't believe that it can work and she takes pills, or can you say family planning, can it affect his health?
So the good thing about the ring is that it can be used together with oral contraceptive. There's no harm at all.
Hello, Doc. My name is Sylvia.
Sorry, just 1 minute. Okay, sorry, before I interrupt you, so I can answer that question fully. So the current Dapivirine ring does not have contraceptive. It's not multi-purpose. It will not protect from pregnancy. So people using that ring will still need to use a method of contraceptive, whether it's a pill, the IUD, implants, DMPA, they will need the contraceptive. Sorry to have interrupted the person asking the question.
Thank you. My name is Sylvia. I'm from Kanko. I wanted to ask how the microbicides will be made accessible to women, or from the studies that were already carried out, how are the women getting the microbicides? Did they find the health facilities, or they were delivered like widely, like condoms?
You know, in the study setting, in the research setting, they have to come to the clinics. And because we're in the world right now where people have wide access to the HIV prevention ring. Remember, the family planning ring has been there for like almost 20 years. It's old. But and that one is just very widely available. But the HIV prevention, the Dapivirine ring, is not yet on the market. It's just been approved by the European Medicines Agency. And this is part of that community information sessions, and Joyce will correct me if I'm wrong. And we are not, to be honest, we will not see it in the next 8 months or 1 year, because due diligence is done. It's quite a lengthy process. I hope it could be sooner. And during this period of time, I think is when, with of course feedback from community, we'll be able to assess what is the best delivery systems for this.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, and I'm also excited about additional options when it comes to HIV prevention. My question is on the flip side of the coin. What are the side effects of the ring? And number two, when a person uses it, will the sexual partner feel it when they engage in sex? Those are my two questions, and this is really exciting.
One of the most exciting things about the ring is that it's really safe. And part of the reason it's safe is what we talked about, is that it releases the antiretroviral locally. The ring product itself has been used for neons. It's, the silicone tubing. People have looked at, early studies really look to make sure that it doesn't injure the vagina in any way, doesn't lacerate in any way, doesn't change after sex. It's an extremely safe product. That's one of the things I can tell you. But in all these studies, the only time sexual partners say they felt it are the sexual partners who've been told that I have something inside. The ones who are shown, this is the ring, it's inside, then he would say, oh, I think I felt it. But the others never felt it. And it's how it sits. And I'm sorry I can't show you if you think about that anatomy, how it sits in the vagina and the cervix is down here. So the partner will not feel the ring.
What should you expect when using the ring? How is it going to affect someone? Like the normal ring will have nausea. To some, it causes blood clots because of the three hormones which are used in it. The normal ring. Now I'm wondering, what about this ring? What can it?
So the side effects of NuvaRing are more to do with the product, the levonorgestrel, the hormone in it. So those hormones are similar to the ones in the oral contraceptive pill, a lower dose. So some people have a bit of spotting during the month, breakthrough bleeding, and a few people may experience nausea. But that's not from the ring itself, that's from the content in the ring. So, the only thing I can say about this ring is that, though it has lower effectiveness, there's no question about its safety. The age of consent to be reduced to 15 years, I don't know.
to be coordinated around their movement themselves so that they can take charge of the movement and the response, so that they are not disconnected amongst themselves. They can understand the various movements that exist, not only in the country, but within the African space and within the global community as well, so that they can share ideas, connect with each other, and connect with the other movements. I think that for me is very key, even as we talked about the current theme around global solidarity, shared responsibility. Thing I would want to challenge for us, or for adolescent girls and young women in the room, knowing that once upon a time I was an adolescent girl and young woman in the HIV space. One of the lessons I would want to bring on the table is also the whole discussion around ensuring that adolescent girl is at the table every time they are being discussed about, and not, once you are at the table, always allowing space for mentorship, not just for yourself, but you also allowing to mentor others, and especially the ones in the rural communities, because adolescent girls and young women in the cities are there. They may be having various opportunities, but there is an adolescent girl and young woman being left out, especially in the communities. And therefore ensuring that that adolescent girl and young woman is at the center of the response, what we normally call community being at the center of the response, would be really critical as the response move forward and as the discussion around adolescent girls takes center stage for the response. And the issue of data, I think for us, coming from UNAID space, I wouldn't leave this space without talking about data. And I know a lot has been researched around adolescent girls and young women, but the research, they would need to be part of the research. They themselves would need to be part of those that are gathering the research, so that there's leadership of adolescent girls and young women in data gathering, in interpretation of data, and in the use of data. From UNAID, I wouldn't want to leave the space without saying this. And for now, lastly, is the whole discussion, and I think Rosemary, you talk about it, the whole discussion around investment for programs, for policies, for capacities around adolescent girls and young women. And investment is not only money, but investment means people. Investment means giving them space to be able to articulate themselves, giving them exposure, and of course money, to ensure that their organizations have the necessary capacities that they need. And if you recall, Rosemary, within the 2016 political declaration, 30% of the resources were supposed to be community-led. And adolescents are part of the community. So we need to see how resources, both domestic, Global Fund, PEPFAR, and every other type of resources that are coming in, are also targeting or are targeted at organizations for adolescents and young women. So I think for me, these would be my reflections for today. And lastly, as I make my last submission, the issue of COVID and HIV are now dual pandemics. But recall that GBV is also there. So, and all these are coalescing around adolescents and young women. And therefore we need to interrogate our responses further to see how then do we enhance, do we broaden our thinking, do we broaden our conversation, and do we broaden our responses if we are going to make any inroad on adolescents and young women. Rosemary, this would be my reflections for now. I missed the earlier discussion, so probably I may have missed a lot, but for now, I just want to submit under this. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ludfin, for your remarks and for encouraging us as a community of advocates, as well as encouraging the adolescent girls and young women Thank you so much. Even though you had not had the previous discussions, your submission is very much in line with what our discussion here is. We very much appreciate your remarks around the dual pandemic of HIV and COVID-19, and that we should just be conscious of that and see how COVID-19 is impacting on HIV and ensure that even as we respond to COVID-19, we do not forget that for us to be 19, we must also safeguard the game against HIV. Thank you so much for highlighting the issue of leadership, that there the women, young women network, we need to think about how can it even be much stronger, ensuring that we have a strong movement of adolescent girls and young women, both in the African space and also in the global space. And that aligns to our theme for this year's World AIDS Day around global solidarity and shared responsibility. Thank you so much for highlighting even the issue around investment, and not just financial investment, investing in people, investing in space, exposure, and also financial resources to ensure that we have community-led responses for HIV. Thank you so much, Ludwig. You're welcome to stay and hear the other reflections. We will have a reflection from the Ministry of Health, NASCO. So we have Maureen, please. Maureen, kindly use the podium. After Maureen, Lydia from the Poisons and Pharmacy Board, and then after Lydia, we will have remarks or reflections from the Office of Nairobi County Women's Rep, Honorable Esther.
Girls and young women. And I cannot leave this podium without asking, just bringing the program perspective of it. We know that 40% of new infections are being contributed by the adolescent girls and young women, and that is very worrying. And so the key perspective that I'm picking from this conversation is the need to have a very concrete combination of approaches that would reach adolescent girls and young women, and also men, because we've said it very clearly that women don't have sex on their own. They have it with the men. And so it is important that we have a combination prevention approach that would reach out to both males and also for women. So as a program, we would want to ensure that we are supporting integration of reproductive and sexual health, because from an assessment that was done in 2010, the Kenya Health Provision Assessment, the assessment showed that only 7% of health facilities offer youth-friendly services to in the facilities, and that is worrying. And it speaks to what we are talking about today. For this product to go out, for this product to be provided, then it means it needs to reach an environment or a platform where there is very friendly services. And so we look at ensuring that we have scaling up sexual and reproductive health services in youth-friendly clinics to ensure that the services are affordable, they are accessible, they are safe, and they are meeting all the standards that are required in terms of privacy and confidentiality. So we also looking into ensuring that we are supporting providers and ensuring that they're building their capacities in providing services for what the young women need. It would be catastrophic to meet service providers that are stigmatizing, and not meeting the needs of the young people. And so it's critical that we look into supporting or providing capacities, improving the capacities for healthcare providers to ensure that they are providing youth-friendly services. And so part of the work that is going on is grant application for the next cycle of funding, and a lot is being invested in integration of sexual and reproductive health. And it is exciting that we have this package, this product on. And so the conversation should move beyond grant application to even stakeholder engagement, beyond the Global Fund. We would want to ensure that all other stakeholders are coming on board to support the adolescent girls and young women access these products as much as possible. And I'm glad that Ludfin mentioned a critical aspect that the ministry would be looking into, and that is health information. So even as we support uptake of these products, we would want to ensure that we are really being crystal on the information that is coming through. What data are we seeing? How many women are now taking up this service? And how cost effective is it? How is it, reducing our incidence? Because at the end of the day, we want to ensure that all these infections are reduced as much as possible. And Rosemary began the day very well by noting that we are working towards zero infections. So as Ministry of Health, we are excited that we are partnering with you in this venture. And I know we will go far if we all work together to meet this objective. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Before you go, you mentioned a statistic that has really made me so sad. Only 7% of the facilities in Kenya offer youth-friendly health services. That's like mind-boggling.
Yeah, so that's an assessment that was done in 2010. Remember, this is a decade later. However, we are still, and of course, that's data that we have. We are using that to inform programming, to help us know what is this that we are missing. And clearly from this conversation we've had today, that there is need to step up reproductive health, sexual and reproductive health. And we can only do that if the environment is friendly. So from an assessment that we did that time, that indicated only 7% of facilities are, providing youth-friendly services. I think that is giving us an extremely important platform to ensure that we are investing in youth-friendly services so as to step up sexual and reproductive health. We want these women to come in. We want you to come in and get affordable, accessible sexual and reproductive health that is integrated as you take up any other service. And this should be with a provider that is capacity built, so they will be able to take care of confidentiality issues, privacy issues, and most importantly, support the health outcome, ensuring that they're providing the service we require, all of us require. And so it's critical that we are putting that on the table as part of the support for the adolescent girls and young women.
Thank you. Thank you so much for clarifying. It seems to me like we have a clear advocacy agenda. Patricia, what do you think?
Yeah, so I have a question for NASCOP based on a comment that was made by one of the young ladies in the room. We know very well adolescent girls do not ask their parents for consent to have sex, but we want them to ask for consent to go and access HIV prevention services and many other services in this country. So we know currently there's this whole conversation that's going on from the religious sector saying, let's not give comprehensive sexuality information to young people. Then the age of consent for testing, for example, is 15 years. But we know the age of consent for a lot of the other sexual reproductive health services is 18 years. So as we talk about the barriers and barriers even to accessing all these HIV prevention technologies, what is NASCOP doing to inform harmonization of these policies so that the healthcare provider also feels covered?
Maybe a quick reflection on that challenge that is being experienced. What's your reflection, Maureen?
Yeah, so yes, and the conversation has been on and on about legality. Where is the age cutoff? Because this young woman is already so much exposed to other issues. I wish I could have an answer to give you today, but I know that it is part of the conversations that are supportive in a legal framework. Some of that is being revised, and I may not have all the information to give, but it is critical that we address that because it's like speaking from one side of your mouth and ensuring that the other side of your mouth doesn't listen to what you're saying. So yes, those are conversations going on. However, we need to always, again, be consistent with what we are putting in our constitution. So what are the rights of this child as far as that is concerned? Yeah.
Thank you so much. It seems there is so much then that we might need to come back to you for, to see also how can we bring forward the issues that are coming out of here that can really be taken forward within the Ministry of Health, and you could guide us on which are the relevant desks, which are the relevant people to talk to about the issues that come out of here. And we'll also definitely share with you the report and the key asks that the young girls and the adolescent girls and young women from this conversation would like the Ministry of Health to pay attention to. Thank you so much. We appreciate your engagement. Thank you so much. We want to invite Lydia. Lydia, please come forward, and thank you so much for joining us. Lydia Tuitai is from the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. She's the acting head, clinical trials division. Yes, thank you so much. Your reflection.
Thank you very much, and hello to everyone. I am Dr. Lydia Tuitai. I am representing Dr. Fred Sioi, the CEO of Pharmacy and Poisons Board. So the regulator is always willing to support, and especially in diseases that are pandemics like HIV, it's usually willing to support and always offer expedited review in such instances. So it is good that the scientific part has been talked about and explained to everyone about it. Where we act from is on scientific data. Once the scientific data is available, now we are making the decision if is it safe to be used by everyone and is it efficacious to be used. So I have heard of dapivirine, the ring, in 2017. The clinical trial had been submitted to us, but unfortunately, at the end of it all, it was not done. And in every aspect, we usually want our own data, data that has been done in our own country, that you can be able to know the direct effect on our population. But yes, since it has not yet been done, I saw the presentation that was made, and we usually require for any drug to be registered in the country, the phase 1, 2, 3 trial and up to phase 4 trial have to be conducted. From the presentation, I have seen up to phase 3 trial has been done, and it is a double-blind study. One of them was a double-blind study, another one was an open label. So yes, we are going to wait for the clinical study report to be shared with us. The data will be looked at and to be confirmed if, based on the power of the study meaning what it meant to, the objectives that were meant to be achieved in that study, if they were met. And after that, we looked at also the safety. And I'm happy one of you had asked about what are the side effects of the drug for Kenyans, for the ring. So that is also one of our critical parameters when we feel if this product should be registered or not. We're looking at the safety. As much as it works, as much as it is helping, but on the flip side, is it safe for use? So we also get that kind of data and be able to analyze. So from what had been presented and what was to be conducted in Kenya was a crossover study. A crossover study that was to be done is a study where the same participant is being used. Initially, they start with, let me say, the ring first, and then after that, they are given a time period, and then they are given the other alternative. So in this case, it was the ring together with an oral HIV product as a preventative therapy. So that actually would have given us a very great insight, because at that point we'll know, yes, the ring has come in as an option, but let us look at the comparison between what is there in the market. Is it offering a better alternative to what is there? And given by the options of the users, would they feel, okay, it's good, let me use the ring because it looks to be more efficient maybe compared to the other intervention that was there. So on that point is on an optional basis. But from what I have heard, but I'll confirm with the organizers of this meeting, that phase 4 study is planned to be done, a feasibility study in that essence, where an open label study will be done to be able to, and in this kind of study, a phase 4, you'd want to know. A phase 3 study would get a minimum number, let me say not minimum, approximately 3,000 to 5,000 participants in a trial. But we want to move into a phase 4 study. We want this drug now to be used by general population. These other studies, there's usually an inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria. These are the people we want in the study, and these ones we might not include in the study because of this and these reasons. For a phase 4 study, it encompasses everyone in the population. So we want to know if the drug or if the ring in this specific case, if it was safe and effective for this kind of population, around 5,000, what of the whole population? Does it still act in the same way, and is it still safe as it was? So the organizers will share with us if the phase 4 study will be done here in Kenya as a phase 4 implementation study, or it's going to be done out and the data will be shared with us. Or at the same time, even if it's done outside, as much as the drug would be registered, it is still a requirement for that to be done so that the data in this country can be able to share on how the participants have been able to, the population, are how it is feasible for them. So at the moment, what I had been asked to share about the procedures, if that ring wants to be registered in Kenya, we have a Department of Drug Registration. So the clinical study for all the studies that have been done should be shared at the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. And then that data will be reviewed to find out if it is sufficient for that ring to be registered for use in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lydia. Do we have any questions around the approvals, regulatory process in Kenya, updating essential medicines list? So in your view, the 8 months to 1 year that Dr. Mogo was talking about, it could even be longer depending on the extent to which Kenya's own approval and regulatory process takes.
I believe when Dr. Mugo was mentioning that, it was not the aspect of Kenya alone. I believe she had said it is going to be done WHO evaluation. So in instances where the ring has gone through that process and has a WHO pre-qualification certificate, then that means the time period that it will be done in Kenya will be minimal, because the data has been evaluated by experts. So whatever we look at is just something that is country-based specific, and then we'll proceed from that. So I wouldn't say it can take 8 months when it comes to Pharmacy and Poisons Board, because for any other product, for any other condition, fine, it might take that while. But for such cases, for a product that is used for in a pandemic case, the usually expedited review is done on it.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful, because with the WHO's review and pre-qualification, it then makes the national process itself much faster. Without that, then it would be a whole different ballgame, I guess.
Not really.
Yeah.
It would just be faster with WHO because the data is there. We're just brushing through to confirm on some issues. But even if it's new, I would say the time period would just be maybe different. It would be maybe 1 month or 2 at most. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We follow the science a lot, but we don't normally follow the regulatory process the way we should. So thank you so much for breaking it down to us. Like, what does it mean? How, the regulatory approval processes, what does it mean for it to actually also end up in the essential medicines list, etc., etc. Is there any question? We have one there, please.
Thank you. My question is on how many Kenyans are we looking at if, for example, the phase 4 studies will be done here in the country? And if it won't be done here, are we likely to easily accept the trials, or the study, or all the data that will be done from outside the country? And also the other clarification is on NASCOP, is 70% or 7%?
Can you repeat what you had asked about NASCOP, Kanji?
NASCOP. NASCOP had mentioned 70% of youth-friendly services. Is it 70% or 7%? And on your question, it's on how many Kenyans are we looking at targeting for phase 4 study, if it will be done here. You mentioned that you require some of this data to be done and collected here in the country. So if it will be done here, how many Kenyans are we targeting? And if it won't be done here, it will be done maybe in other outside countries. Are you likely to easily accept the data that will come in?
Okay, I think based on NASCOP, they'll be respond on that data. I'm not sure about it. And then based on the number of participants in phase 4 clinical trial, as I said, even if phase 4 has been done elsewhere, even if when it comes to the country, we also need for that to be done. And that is why there is usually need for any marketing authorization holder. A marketing authorization holder is the person who wants to register that drug to be used in Kenya. We usually want a marketing authorization holder to have a qualified person for pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance is going into the market and follow up on the safety and efficacy of the product in our own population. So as much as phase 4 has been done out there, yes, we will accept based on the data and the safety and efficacy data that is there, we'll accept on that front. But phase 4 also has to be done in terms of monitoring the local market to confirm if the product is safe and used for the population. And a phase 4 study runs in thousands. You can even have 10,000 of our own population to be able to ascertain that all types of people in our population, people have very different concomitant conditions, and some of them are healthy. So we want a mixture cluster of everyone to be able to find out in this cluster of our population, is it still effective? But I would want to raise, as much as I've said that concerning the ring study, there are some for other medicines. As much as phase 4 has been done elsewhere, but it's important for our bioequivalent study. For this kind of a ring, an exemption can be done, but for other medicines like oral tablets and capsules, based on the solubility of the drug, a bioequivalent study has to be done. A bioequivalent study is based on what you have, the innovator product. Let me go to layman perspective. Like we have Panadol. Panadol is a GSK product. They're the ones who innovated it. So we want to see other players have come in. They want to produce the same medicine, Panadol, but now they want to brand like Dawa. Yeah. So we want to get a bioequivalence data trying to show that are these products still the same? They still offer the same safety and efficacy profile. I hope that is clear.
Thank you so much. That's very useful. Let's hear the clarification, whether it's 7 as in Saba or 70 as in 70.
Okay, so just to make things very clear, so we conduct surveys periodically, and so the Ministry of Health conducts health provision. Let me just remove my mic so that it's clear, yeah. And for this, so the Kenya Health Provision Assessment survey was conducted in 2010. We are in 2020. So what I'm providing is what is published. And of course, the subsequent assessment is already, I mean, we are due for one if it's not being conducted yet. And of course, I cannot share that unless we have data that is published. So I meant 7% of the health facilities from that survey were, as a result, what was noted that only 7% of health facilities were providing youth-friendly services. That is as at 2010. And of course, this may have changed, but we need to give data as it were then. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We want to thank you, Dr. Lydia, for leading us in that very important segment about from the regulator's side and what the processes are. I don't know if there are any questions, but we do have the final remarks. If the representatives from the office of the Women's Rep, Nairobi County, is here, kindly proceed to the podium. But we do have one question. Please come. We do have one question from a colleague here. Is that for Lydia? Oh, it's a remark. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Perhaps it's not even just a remark, it's food for thought for everyone who is present here. My name is William Decker from IAVI. IAVI, we work towards translating science into a global health impact, that including development of HIV vaccines. That possibly is also another point of discussion we want to look into going forward. So my food for thought is on 2 points. As partners in global health and in HIV solutions, we welcome this new solution, the Piverin ring, but let's also now start thinking about 3 areas of discussion for it. That is access, affordability, and availability. So while we are talking about the community engagement component of it, If you just allow me, let me take this off. So while we are talking about the community engagement component of it, the research, regulations, let's think about how will it be accessible to the end user? How will it be affordable? And will it be always available for them, especially if it's something you use every month? Then the next one is another point, food for thought is let's also keep our eyes on the target. If we are really to end HIV by 2030, we are having all these solutions coming around, but we still keep in mind that perhaps only a HIV vaccine will be the long-lasting solution. And so let's keep our eyes around it. I know there's COVID, and so we are working towards different aspects of solutions in health, including for COVID, but also for other diseases. But also let's keep focus on the fact that possibly a HIV vaccine will be a long-lasting solution. And for us to get a HIV vaccine, then now we scale up all these other activities you mentioned, involving communities in research, involving translating that research to everyone else's sort of perception, and they understand that the solution will be for everyone. Thank you.
Asante sana. Very, very great and amazing reflections about the fact that if we are to end and sustain the end of HIV, we will need something like a vaccine. The vaccine is still under development. It has been quite a number of years. But the thing is, as we advocate and as we push for new prevention options, we do not discredit the other prevention options, whether they are being developed, whether they are being demonstrated, or whether they are being discovered, like a cure. We are still doing research for an HIV cure. So all those options are very valid, and each of those has its own place. So thank you for reminding us that. Now, we had invited Honorable Esther Passaris. She has been a champion for women and girls issues. We have been with her on the streets around her choice and all that. You know, when we talk about women's choices, we have seen her in parliament and how she has fearlessly defended the SRHR bill, for example. We have followed all that. So thank you for being here, and we invite you to share with us what the remarks from her office are. Karibu, and introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhinza Bushoki. I work for the Honorable Esther Passaris, who is a woman rep for Nairobi County. Mheshimiwa would have loved to be here today, but she couldn't make it. She's, as you've heard, she's a strong supporter of women's rights and women being able to make choices about their bodies, about their futures. And so she is well briefed about this development. She is behind this. As a policymaker, she has given us reassurance that she will do what it takes to ensure that these and other technologies are available to women, to young women across Kenya. So thank you very much for organizing this, for inviting our office. We will hopefully work together to make sure that along the way, it all goes through, especially when it comes to legislation. So I don't have much to say. I was just taking note, but thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate our colleague and all the other colleagues because we've come to the end of the moderated panel discussion. We appreciate everyone from UNAIDS. Ludfin in absentia, we appreciate her. We appreciate the Ministry of Health. Maureen, we appreciate your remarks and your office. Thank you so much. Dr. Lydia, we appreciate your remarks, your interventions, answering our questions. We appreciate your office, the Poisons and Pharmacy Board. We appreciate adolescent girls and young women. Muthoni, your reflections, your final take. Thank you so much for bringing that. And also from a policymaker's perspective, from Honorable Esther Passaris' office, we appreciate that that office has been a partner in this work, and that even that kind of response an assurance that the issues, this kind of issues, there is a champion in Parliament that we will share this report with and can take it forward and include that in her conversations. We've come to the end of this meeting, this conversation, this event. I want to ask if there's any final remarks, any final comments before we close and we go to the next segment. After the close, what will happen is that we have a few media representatives here. If there is a specific person you would like to follow up for interview, for question, that would be the moment to do that. We see that we asked the questions during the forum, so we won't necessarily have a media briefing, but we are here. Any question, any clarity, any data, any report that you'd like to follow up, we are here and we'll be able to provide that. And then, do we have any final remarks, comments, questions? I saw Evelyn. Evelyn, are you still here? Evelyn Kibuchi. Oh, she's outside. All right. So, Jackie, come. Thank you. Your reflection.
You want me to put me up here? I just wanted to ask my little question in the corner. So my name is Jackie. I am a consultant with AVAC, and I do a lot of advocacy for new innovations, optimal treatment, and of course on the multipurpose prevention technologies. So I want to go back to ask the person from NASCOP. I don't know if she's still here. Yeah. Sorry, you all look alike with dreadlocks. Today we are many. So yeah, so I'm still not very satisfied with the issue of how our young girls are going to access these products because of, as my colleague from LBCT mentioned, we bring these products into the market, but when it comes now down to country level, we have countries that have a lot of policies that now deter these young girls from accessing these products. So for me, I really, really need to know before I leave this room, what is it going to be like for a young girl when she wants to access the pivoting ring? And we are hearing issues of concern coming even from the NASCOP office saying that they are not really satisfied with the issues of HIV prevention being researched amongst young girls. So for me, that question really needs to be answered because we are trying to make a lot of champions out of these young girls that we have here. But when we have those policies as a barrier, it's going to bring a lot of issues. And I want to go back now to the history that has been happening before. Like in our country, when Kenya was one of the first countries to roll out the drug dolutegravir, but then again, it brought out issues when there was a circular going out saying that women of reproductive age cannot access the drug. So please clarify that for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for your remarks and for stressing the fact that women need to access the ring when it's available. We'll walk the journey. We are starting this journey. So I think we've started with a lot of momentum, and the request is that we keep to the same momentum as we go along so that we ensure that the ring is in the hands of women. They have demanded it today. They have said they want it. So, and the other key message for me I took from this is that women want to be involved from the beginning, from the word go, not when the product is here. So when we are starting with the processes of regulatory, going all the way to policy, registration and the like, I think the voice of the women, especially young women today joining us, is that they want to be part of the process. And this is just one of those steps towards ensuring that young women are engaged. So we'll continue on with the momentum, and I see that one of our colleagues from LVCT Health has a remark to make, because this is a journey of many organizations, not just Waki Health, But there is already some work that's happening within some partners, and I'm sure that Patricia can mention, and we are happy to walk this journey together.
Mine is a quick one. So we are also working with IPM, and that's how we came to partner with Waki Health. And we are conducting a situational analysis on introduction of the pivirin ring in Kenya. And we are doing a lot of engagements with key stakeholders. We've been talking to NASCOP, talking to NAC, we are talking to young girls, we are talking to the Pharmaceutical Society, talking to the PPB, so that we get everything right from the word go. We learned key lessons in the introduction of PrEP, and there are mistakes we do not want to repeat. So in terms of even demand creation, we want to engage at this point before the product is here to know where do we pass this information, who do we engage, how do we engage all these other stakeholders that we've called probably barriers or opposers. How do we engage them to ensure that when this product comes, it is available for young women? And finally, we are also conducting a study. It's called the willingness to pay, because we know cost has also been a barrier. We have girls and young women who cannot be able to afford some of these products when they come. So we are conducting that study to find out what is the willingness to pay for this particular product, and also the normative cost. How much would it actually cost to deliver the pivirin ring? Because that is essential for government when they're doing their budgets to be able to advocate for allocation. So all the girls in this room, there's quite a lot that's going on. Plug in, be engaged, put your voice in there, and continue being an advocate for HIV prevention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I'm just looking whether there is anyone else with a remark. I see a hand. This is a encourage her. We should support her to speak.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Rosa Nyango. I am from AHF, Madare, and I would like to ask, this vaginal ring, under 18, the under 18 are using them. What about the upcoming generation, like under 15, 17, 16? What about them? What if they want to use it in case to prevent HIV, AIDS, and other sickness, and pregnancy too?
So it's a question that is being posed to the room, that what happens to actually under 18 years of age, young girls who are already engaging in sex. We have talked about issues of consent for age. We have spoken about the legal issues regarding the age to access some of these products. So I would say it's not a question that we can answer here, but I can assure you that there are enough voices, advocates in the room who are working towards either reducing the age for consent, or seeing how these young girls can be reached with such interventions. So it remains an advocacy agenda, and you're saying that we should not assume that girls below the age of 18 are not having sex. I think that is a message that you're trying to communicate to us. Is still an issue under advocacy, and we will still continue to push the same as comprehensive sexuality education. There are still issues that we are trying to advocate and we are trying to push. And we hope that we can answer that question soon. But I think in this forum right now, we may not be able to give you that answer. What happens to below 18 years of age who wants to use the ring and all that still remains a question for all of us. And we'll still continue to advocate. So at this point, I don't see any other hand. So there's one. All right, come. As we finish, we are now at the tail end, but we will not close in on young women to say something.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Sharon from the University of Maryland. I'm sorry I came late, But my question is, because we have been introduced for the ring, it is for this ring, it is acceptable for the discordant couples, or it is just for only for women? Because for the discordant couples, you might find that, for example, I'm HIV positive and my partner is negative, so I want to use this ring. Am I supposed to use it with the PrEP, or am I supposed to use it only just alone?
So a very, very important question again there we are getting from the young women. So the issue of prevention, we talk about combination prevention, having as many methods of prevention as possible, especially for a discordant couple, because the risk is known. I think the advice from this forum, or the answer to that, is to use as many protective methods in combination as possible, because none of it is 100% for prevention. And you also asked the question whether the ring is only meant for discordant couples, but this is a ring meant for cisgender women, 18 years and above. And we have a forum after this with the young women, just with the young women. So we are going to continue to talk about the ring and clarify some of those issues. So I think your questions will be better answered in the coming session. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this morning, for accepting a call to meet face to face when we know that most meetings are happening virtually. But because of the importance of this issue, you have come face to face. We cannot thank you enough. So just some logistics announcement. So after this, we'll allow the media or the representative from the different media stations to stay around, maybe for 10 minutes, to just ask 10, 15 minutes to ask any questions, clarify with us. And then the media will leave, and all our other civil society advocate partners will leave. Then we will be left with the young women for a focus group discussion around demand generation, around discussions, questions on the ring, and how young women can continue to engage on this process. So that's what will happen after this. So I would like to call the meeting, could bring the meeting to a close. My name is Joyce Nganga. I'm a policy advisor working with Waki Health. Rosemary stepped out. I was standing in for her and she's back. But we want to thank you so much. And one ask that we have from all the media representatives in the room, we are asking that we share this information so that women can be reached, policymakers can be reached, and other people, donors and funders can be reached with this information. We're disseminating the positive opinion of the Pivirin ring. I think we have sent those materials, and if you require any more materials, you can see me. We can provide and make arrangements how you can get all the videos that we have shown and other materials around the ring, so that as you make those stories, those articles, you have the accurate information. We have your contact information, so we will write an email with a report of this meeting, which can help you to keep in touch with all of us. And as we have mentioned, different organizations are organizing to do such events around the ring. So as much as possible, we will keep you updated on what is happening as we walk this journey. So just a logistical announcement for the media people: as you leave, just pass at the registration desk. We have a message for you there. So without further ado, thank you so much for coming. All the young women, kindly stay behind as all the other colleagues joining us are leaving. Thank you so much. Maybe we should do one more clap, eh? We do Senorita Patricia. Maybe we should do one Senorita clap as we finish.
Sawa sawa, because we are closing, let's all rise up on our feet. And now we will do a more organized mathematical clap. We will give 5,400, 4,321 claps. All right? 54,321. Si tunaijua? Factorial. Let's give it a try and have it organized. Okay. Pasha. Let's go. Kuna watu walikuwa wanaruka kwa space kila saa. Si tumeipata sasa? Let's do it a final time because everybody has really done a fantastic job being here, contributing to these conversations. Okay, let's go. 3 go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. Have a good day.